This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
Canine Crew, it's time to just sell the damn thing. Doberman Dan is revealing his contrarian formula for getting a rush of new customers, building your business faster, and making the highest possible profits. Go to justsellthedamnthing.com to get your copy today.
Prepare yourself for the uncensored, nothing held back, no BS reality of how business and life really work. Doberman Dan is off the chain.
You are listening to the Off the Chain Show. Welcome back to another edition. Last week we left off on part 1 of the Jonathan G interview, and we're back this week to wrap it all up. So let's jump in.
Do you find, is part of the challenge in managing employees that you're the proverbial entrepreneur, man? You're the proverbial serial entrepreneur and have been so since you were a teen, a young teen. So, talking with you on your podcast, immediately I knew, I'm talking to an entrepreneur. I just know your mindset. Mm-hmm. And the employee mindset is so different than the entrepreneur mindset. Is that a challenge? Having to manage that, when you're talking with an entrepreneur, they get you. Yeah. You don't have to motivate anybody. You don't have to define things so tightly. You just tell them, hey, we want more clients. And an entrepreneur will go like, okay, well, they'll figure out what they need to do. But often employees need much more instruction and structure. Is that part of the challenge?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I never really thought of it that way. I can say that it's very obvious that I do have an entrepreneurial mind and less of like a corporate mind. And I think there are times where probably a corporate mind could probably bring Penji to even faster growth than what we might be able to do, because a lot of the times we're stubborn. But I don't know. It's a hard question to answer, but I can't think of one particular thing, to be completely frank with you. Have you ever considered that? Have you ever considered, turning this into a big corporation and letting the venture capitalists in and do that deal? Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We've been approached multiple times to be acquired, and we've also been approached to get VC funding, and we declined everything because the minute that number one, we're cash flow positive. So we're revenue positive. We're making money. And so that's pretty dang awesome. And we're doing it all ourselves. And so we don't have a person to quote unquote tell us what to do, which is, I think, really powerful. And so maybe one day we might look towards funding, but I think we have a couple of milestones that we have to hit internally first before we even consider that. And that goes back to us being stubborn entrepreneurs. So I'm sure you can relate to that to some degree. You kind of just want that notch that, this is self-made. This is all stuff that we did, and it's all because of our process and procedure. I could totally see that. The minute you take VC money, you're almost in the subservient position of an employee. Absolutely. They're running it now. You just got to do what they say. And that would drive a guy like you crazy. Well, believe it or not, I don't know. That's hard to say. I can think if I'm the type of person that if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. I'll admit it. So, but I'm also understanding that a person like Mark Cuban has way more contacts and way more of a network than I could ever have at this exact moment. So, I think that it could be, there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons, but I think a lot of businesses are dictated. Their success is dictated about the amount of money that they're able to get, but it's very hard to find large successful businesses that are not VC backed. If you go on TechCrunch or any type of large publication, you'll see the first thing on the top is going to be X company just raised $50 million. But what about the company that's making 7 figures and has never received an ounce of money from a VC? I think that should be more glorified, because that requires a lot more grit than just going out and having a cool product and receiving millions upon millions of dollars to invest in it. I agree. Speaking of that,
how did you fund this when you were just getting things going? Was this started on a bootstrap budget? Did you second mortgage your home? Where did the capital come from?
Yeah. So it's all self done. So we had an agency at the time. We were making pretty good money. We're really good at finances. And we're really good at keeping everything relatively bootstrapped, as tight as we possibly can. So we know everything that's coming in, everything that's going out at all times. And if anything is red flagged, we're all aware of it. So that's how we were able to do it. We had an agency. We had great clients. We were making some great revenue, and we've ended up shutting that agency down since we launched Penji. But it was a lot of the help from our existing or our past agency that we had that allowed us to get the capital. But we've also created everything in-house too. So we have developers, we have designers, and we have like a technology arm that a lot of businesses don't have. And that also allowed us to be where we are today, because if it wasn't for our developers, our in-house developers, we wouldn't be as agile as we are today. So if we have like a new idea or a new feature that we want to implement, we have to just like go on Slack and talk to that person and persons in order to make that possible. Whereas most businesses that are in the technology field, they don't have a technical co-founder. Whereas I'm on the business side, my co-founder is more on the technical side, and we're able to accomplish things faster because of that technology arm that we have in our business.
That sounds like a good partnership.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's great. I mean, my co-founder and I are so different on so many levels, but we meet at the table because we both have a common goal. We both have that's the one thing that we come together at which is our dreams and aspirations. We have a lot of things that we want to achieve in life, and it definitely motivates us.
What have been some of your personal challenges as an entrepreneur? Like, what doubts have you faced? What fears have you faced and overcome? All that good stuff.
I would say primarily involves work-life balance. That would be like the biggest thing.
Are you married?
No, single. I mean, I have a girlfriend, but single in the form of not married. And I don't have a house. I have an apartment, which is strategic. I don't want a house because the minute that you get a house and you're kind of sucked into the roof is leaking and the floor needs to be redone. And I just don't have the mental capacity to do that, at least not right now. But yeah, it's just work-life balance. Not working so much and so much time is being spent working. I wake up around like 7, 8 o'clock, and I probably don't shut my computer off or look away from a computer until 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I go to the gym and I go back to work until about 1, 2 in the morning. And so this is like pretty much 6, 7 days. I'd say probably 6 days a week that I'm doing this. And, definitely it takes a toll on your mental psyche and your personal relationships as well.
Do you schedule any time for like deliberately doing nothing, whatever that may be? It's like some people meditate, some people just sit and watch the birds or whatever.
Yeah, I do meditate in the mornings. I do like watching. I feel like watching YouTube is probably like my one thing. But even then, I'm still like learning things about business. I work out 6 days a week. And then on Friday nights and Saturday nights are usually like my time to unwind. And so I'll probably like go to a bar and have like a good pint and some food, maybe like a bottle of wine or something like that. But yeah, other than that, those are like my relaxation times, is those brief myriad. It usually involves food, believe it or not.
I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So how does the podcast fit into your schedule? Like how are you able to make that work with your busy schedule with Penji?
I think now that I think about it, I'd say the podcast is probably a really good like mental break too, because if even though like the schedule is busy, you still have to find time to network and meet new people. And that's kind of like how I met you, is you being on my show and then, us building a relationship that way. I think the podcast is my way of stepping out of reality a little bit and going into fantasy land and just talking to people and hearing their stories. And then I think, and this, maybe you can agree, I'd love to hear your opinion on this, but I think podcasting is that intimate relationship that you can have with somebody that you're allowed to just share everything. Like you could ask me any question that you want right now, Dan, and I will answer it for you without any hesitation at all. And I think that raw communication and relationship is really powerful in the world of podcasting.
I agree with that. JR would have more to say about that. He's the expert, but I've taken mine I think in a somewhat different direction. We haven't gone down any rabbit holes yet, but I'm about to. But yeah, I mean, mine was pure, just, I don't even know how would you describe it, JR. Mine was just kind of pure business entertainment stuff, talking about business stuff. Marketing. Yeah.
Yeah. Mostly marketing in the beginning.
And then when was it? About a year ago, I started talking about more things I'm personally interested in. Was it about a year ago or longer?
Yeah. You started the more, what I like to call it is the inner game, like the inner game of success.
Mm.
Yeah. And, I guess people like that. We get feedback on it. I don't get feedback that says, would you talk more about how to write a successful sales letter?
Yeah.
I am so bored with that.
Yeah.
That, could I talk about it? Sure. Do I? Sometimes, but I'm doing a lot less of it.
Yeah.
Because, I'm discovering all the crap and all the horrible problems that have happened in my life and all the lack of progress in all the things I want to make progress in almost never had anything to do with technical ability. It was all about my thinking, my mindset. So that's what I'm more interested in.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It sounds 100%. Like what that's your podcast has become for you then.
Yeah, it's my gateway. It's just fun. It's just fun to talk to people. It's fun to ask questions. Like, I don't know if you had the opportunity to listen to the Joe Rogan and Elon Musk conversation. I mean, that was 2 hours and 45 minutes of just like pure entertainment. And they just tried to understand, Joe Rogan just tried to understand Elon Musk's brain for 2 hours and 45 minutes. And it wasn't until maybe the 2 hour mark when he really tapped into like what's going on in his brain. But like, it's powerful stuff. It's really powerful stuff.
I have got to check that out. I think you're the second person who's told me about it.
It's a must. Yeah. I mean, listen, if you don't really care too much about Tesla, then you could probably fast forward it to the 2 hour mark. And it's not until like the 2 hour mark when they really start getting into the psyche. But I mean, it's still good. It's good content.
Oh, cool. I'm glad you recommended that. Hey, how old are you?
29. Going to be 30 on December 30th of this year.
Okay. I thought you were in your 20s. You look a tad bit younger than that on the web, on the podcast site, on tveshow.com.
Yeah.
Is that a recent video, the one on the about page, or is that a couple years old?
Yeah, that's. I think that was around just a year ago. Yeah, December of last year is when I created that. Maybe January. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird. Like, if you really want to go down this rabbit hole, I'm really into self-care. I really like, even though I may not mentally take breaks, I do treat my body as well as I possibly could. So it's like the proper skincare regimens, working out, make sure you're sweating. I have like a pretty detailed skincare regimen because like everybody's going to be looking at your face and I don't have the best genes on the planet. So I need to make sure that I'm as healthy as I possibly can be at all times.
Now, is that motivated? That's motivated by what? Longevity, health, vanity, all of the above?
It could be vanity. I never really thought about that. I'd say it's more like feeling confident, because if you feel confident, I think that carries over into the business world. And feeling confident starts with whatever insecurities you're feeling in that moment. So it could be, I need to dress better. And so like, I'll wear a suit to work, or I'll wear a nice shirt, or whatever it may be. Or maybe it's like your appearance. Like, I want to make sure that I look young, even when I'm in my 40s or my late 30s or 50s, whatever it may be. So I think that's something that I'm constantly aware of. I don't want to be, like a decrepit skeleton when I'm in my older ages. But yeah, it feels good to look good, you know?
I would agree with that. Plus, I don't have any evidence at hand to back this up other than just anecdotal evidence. But man, it seems like you project a different energy when you feel good about yourself. And I think that includes feeling good about your appearance.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I can tell you the best meetings that I've ever had have come from the outfit that I've worn or the haircut that I just got or whatever it may be. Like your mindset for me, again, like you said, anecdotal type of conversations here, no evidence to back this up, but I just feel like a different person. And I think if you're going to run a business or if you're going to just make any type of risk, it has to start from how you look and how you dress and how you feel. Are you confident? That stuff's important.
Agreed. So you work out 6 days a week. You got this long work day that you do most days of the week. What about diet? Are you a fanatic about that, or do you eat whatever you want to eat?
Combination of both. I do have pretty good metabolism, so I'm blessed in that regard. But I do try to. I'm very cognizant of what's going into my body. I probably eat about 4 or 5 times a day, and all scheduled out meals. I tried veganism for a little bit, and I sucked at it. I even created a website about it. It's called thebadvegans.com to kind of help people, because I think everybody has tried being a vegan. Maybe you haven't, I don't know, but I can list hundreds of people that have tried going vegan and just haven't either A, committed to the process, or B, haven't figured out the right way to do it. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to create a website about this. And so it's like a passion side project of mine. I'm like, you know what, I want to help other people that suck at being vegan just as much as I do.
Are you still following the vegan diet, or is it hit or miss?
Hit or miss, yeah. I mean, I still love chicken and all the other meats, but I do at least 2 or 3 days. I'll have like some soy and some fresh vegetables and fruits and things like that. So I'm not eating meat every single meal, although it was at one point in time in my life.
What is it about the vegan diet? Did you not feel good when you were totally vegan, or was it just habits that kept bringing you back to eating meat?
I personally lost a lot of weight. So I'm 6'2", somewhere around 190 and some change. I went vegan and I just wasn't educated enough. And so I lost like maybe 15 pounds. And so I was at like 170 something at some point in time. And like, I just looked skinny, you know, like I'd say I'm relatively built type of guy. I mean, I have my height, I have a pretty good size to me, but I was just looking sickly. And so, and the reason why that was is because I wasn't eating enough. I wasn't eating at the right times. I wasn't eating the right stuff. I didn't know what type of proteins were going into my body, but I can say I felt amazing.
You did, even at that lower body weight?
Yeah, I felt great. I felt, it's definitely something to reconsider. And again, that's why I found the balance, which is like half and half. But yeah, I felt like, wait, like all the crap that is in my stomach, like you don't even realize how much junk is in your body until you go clean and you start eating clean. Like you get rid of a lot of crap in your body and a lot of like just that gut stuff that is not wanted and is really bad for your body. You'll get rid of it if you eat well.
What was it that interested you about the vegan diet? Was it personal beliefs, or was it just the health thing?
Both. I wanted to test myself. Number one, I wanted to prove myself that I could do it. I did it for about 2 months or so. I wanted to feel healthy. I wanted to see what would happen. My mother actually, she survived cancer, luckily enough, but she had cancer. And so I'm just doing a lot of research and thinking to myself, like, what are the causes of this type of stuff? And we can always argue about how and why that is the way that it is. But I can say that based off of research that I've found, again, a doctor could tell me differently, that it does have a lot to do with your gut and what's going into your body and things like that. And so, the sugars and the things like that, they're not necessarily needed to be in your body. They're wanted and desired for because it tastes good, But a lot of the stuff that you need to survive, you really don't need to eat it. They're more wants than they are needs.
Oh, big time. A lot of that stuff, like your brain reacts to it just like it reacts to heroin.
100%. Absolutely.
You know, I'm fascinated by this. I've not tried it yet, but I made the statement to a friend of mine, and, you know, coming out from the people who know me, this coming out of my mouth probably would shock the people who know me well. But I'm like, you know what seems really screwed up? That some living sentient being, or actually beings, plural, have to die every day in order to feed my fat ass. You know, I mean, I was just thinking, when I really stop and think about it, I'm thinking that seems really messed up to me. Well, you know, like, like, would I kill my dog and eat him? Hell no. But will I eat bacon? Well, yeah. You know, and that pig is smarter, they say, than a dog. And if I had raised the pig, I'd probably give him a name and probably snuggle with him. And I would never consider eating him. But yet here I go to the grocery store and buying bacon and stuff. When I stopped and finally thought about it, it seemed screwed up.
At the fundamental core, it is. But I would also say that a lot of times that the meat that you're eating is so inhumanely received from that restaurant or from the food that you're cooking at the grocery store or whatever it may be. I mean, there are literally places in this world that I'm sure you've done the research and looked at the documentaries of people, just sweatshops of chickens and pork and pigs and cows, and they're just there for the sole purpose of living and dying. That is it. There's no other reasoning for them they have to get to a fat level that is good, and they're gone. And that's really sad to think about it. So I try, when I do eat meat, I try as much and as often as I can to eat something relatively organic. That way it was at least done, I hope, relatively humanely.
Yeah, not force-fed corn, which cattle should never eat. And, you know, antibiotics, because corn makes them sick. So let's add antibiotics in, and then hormones to fatten them up faster. And
some of the chickens that, like, I've seen at grocery stores, and I'm sure you've seen them too, like, there is no goddamn chicken that should have gotten that big. Like, I'm seeing like chicken breasts, and they're like, where the hell did this thing come from? Like, what was fed to this thing to be this huge?
Yeah, that's chemically enhanced. That's like, absolutely, you know, bodybuilder chicken. They're sticking in with syringes of testosterone and
yeah, absolutely.
You know, and yeah, I even thought about recently. I thought, well, maybe I'll try lacto-ovo vegetarian. So no meat, just eggs, you know, dairy, cheese and stuff like that. But still with a caveat. I mean, if you're getting eggs from a factory farm where the chickens, their beaks are cut off and they're fed this crap that they shouldn't be eating, and antibiotics and hormones, and they're kept in these tiny little coops where they can't move. Well, you know, I'm still supporting cruelty to animals. Luckily, there's a farmer's market here where I live in Ocala every Saturday. And, you know, you can go out to the farms and see how the food is raised, you know, and buy it at the farmer's market. So I'm fortunate to have access to that stuff. But
yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, I love that stuff too. I live right outside Philadelphia in Camden, New Jersey, and my girlfriend lives in Kansas City. And every time I travel to Kansas City, we always go to her supermarket. Or she lives near the river market in Kansas City, and you can go down there and pick up as much as you want, and it's like pennies on the dollar in comparison to what you would get at like a local grocery store.
Oh, that's cool. You know, once you start eating cleaner, then you really realize how much what you put into your body affects how you feel, your energy levels, and how you think, you know, like, so you're young. I think you could still work your schedule and be productive eating fast food, you know, totally. 4 times a day. I think you could still do it. My age, I'm 53. I can tell you how my mind reacts to that stuff, and it screws up my mind. I cannot think clearly when I'm eating junk. Believe me, I love junk just as much as the next guy. I just can't eat it anymore without suffering the consequences. And you know, I'm still as vain as they come. I don't want to be a big fat slob. I want to look nice, but you know, I got to keep my brain working well, and that stuff screws up my brain.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can imagine. I definitely don't feel good after I eat it now. I don't eat it. The last time I had like a Wendy's was probably months ago. Other than that, I couldn't even tell you the last time that I actually had like legit fast food.
Smart man. I learned that lesson a little late in life. Good thing you're learning it early. Well, Jonathan, I see we're coming up on our cutoff time. So I really appreciate you sharing with my listeners today.
Thank you for having me. It was a great opportunity. I really appreciate you having me on.
My pleasure. So tell people how they can find Penji.
Sure. You can go right on to our website, which is penji.co, penji.co. If you need any type of graphic design work, we do it unlimited. And it's all at one flat monthly rate of around $349. So penji.co.
And the Blind Entrepreneur Podcast is on iTunes, but tell us the website they can go to if they want to go to the website.
Yeah, it's on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, the whole gamut. And it's TBE Show. So the Blind Entrepreneur Show.com, TBEshow.com. Cool.
You do a great podcast, so I think everybody should check that out.
Thank you. So do you. You're not so bad yourself, my friend.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, hey, man, thanks again. I appreciate it, Jonathan.
Yeah, anytime, man. Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
All right, another Off the Chain show's in the can. Thank you, K9 Crew, for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed today's show. K9 Crew got a special treat for you, what we are affectionately referring to as the Off the Chain Hotline. Tell us you love us. Tell us you hate us. Ask questions. We don't care. Just call 321-424-6043 and give us a piece of your mind.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.